there was a service advisor coaching company that I was an attendee or a trainee at, and they called me and said, "Hey, we think you're the best service advisor in the country, and we want you to come and train service advisors."
I don't like stock photography. I hate it. I want stuff that we're talking to people like, know, and trust you with their car. Then let's have pictures and videos of you with their car. And by you, I don't mean Mr. or Mrs. Shop owner. I mean the people, the face of the company, the face of the shop. I mean them, right? Welcome to another episode of the Garage Grit Podcast. I'm Brad Herlock of AA Shop Marketing, a digital marketing company for auto repair shops. And we're having episode 62 because we just had episode 61. That seems logical. That seems fair, right? Yeah, that seems fair. Okay, so but the reason that we've brought Rena in on this conversation from Empowered Advisor is because we're going to be talking about in the panel that we just had at episode 61. We talked about the connection between investing in and pouring into your front of staff with the same amount or effort or more than maybe that you pour into marketing. That first impression, that first piece is going to convert that marketing dollar, right? And so I've shared some stories with Philip and Kathleen, and I had Rena listen into that podcast, and we're going to talk about that episode and how that actually plays out in your shop. Rena, thank you for joining the Garage Grit Podcast.
Thank you for having me.
You're welcome very much. So I don't know enough about you, and our audiences might not know enough about you. So let's fix that. Why don't you tell me a little bit about Empowered Advisor and also your story to get to here? You've been with Empowered Advisor now that it's your company.
Yeah.
And you've been with them for over a decade?
Yeah, so I actually started off as a service advisor. And so when I was 22 years old, I got my first job as a service advisor. And I worked as a service advisor for, I guess maybe I was 21, but whatever. I'm bad with dates and age, so just bear
Okay.
with me here. I can tell you
Hey, you're allowed to
approximately.
make yourself younger. It's okay. It's fine.
Oh, okay. This is going to be really bad
I
then.
started when I was 10.
People, yes, I started off when I was 10. And yeah, so I worked as a service advisor and service manager for about 12 years. And there was a service advisor coaching company that I was an attendee or a trainee at, and they called me and said, "Hey, we think you're the best service advisor in the country, and we want you to come and train service advisors." So I said, absolutely. I didn't even think about it. I said, absolutely. And then it's really
Get me out
funny.
of the shop.
You know what? I miss the shop. I really do. Um,
Okay.
so
What in particular?
I, what's that?
You said you missed the shop. What is there anything in particular that you miss about that? Maybe that particular shop, or maybe just the shop in general. What do you think?
You know, I just really liked being a service advisor, and truly, I like people. And
Okay.
so I think I miss, and I do work with people, but I work with them one on one. I don't get to work with like a large group of people. I work from
Right.
home.
Right.
So
You work as a service advisor in person at the shop. You're seeing 30, 40 people constantly, and it's new faces constantly. That
yeah.
one's not smiling. The next one's going to be, right? No
Yes.
big deal. Okay.
Yes.
Got it.
Yeah.
I get that. Okay.
So I do. I miss that. I miss the camaraderie of the shop, and I miss helping customers. I liked being an advisor. I like organizing. I'm a very organized person. And so I loved like preparing my day, so at the end of each day, I would prepare for the next day. And I loved managing the schedule. And I just, I loved being an advisor. So I took the job as a coach, and I realized that I had a huge fear of public speaking. And which is completely crazy, but I was so honored that they came to me and said they wanted me to work for them that I didn't even think twice about it. I just took the job. And so I ended up having to go to Toastmasters to overcome my fear of speaking. And then I ended up leaving that company after about 18 months because what I found is that I really like one-on-one coaching. So for me, training and coaching, the difference is training, I am training like a group of people, and coaching is I'm generally working with like one or two people. And I found the benefit of when people would go to a class and we would give them a bunch of information, then they would get back to the shop and they would say, "Oh my gosh, I don't even know where to start." And so what do I do with all of this information? And so what we do for our clients is we do a weekly phone call and we go over small bits of information every week. So instead of one big chunk of information, we go over a little bit every single week. And the information that we go over is very, very specific to our client. So I'm not giving you generic content. I am giving you content that is specific to you, that is going to help you and you be a better service advisor.
That's interesting. All right. So they got this training portfolio. They got this training. They got their notes from the training, right? From the class. And there were, say, 4 pages of bullet lists of different things that they need to address. I don't know, 2 pages, 4 pages, 12 pages, doesn't matter. You don't just go, okay, well, we first talked about this. Now let's work with you on that. No, no, no. You actually look at that particular shop advisor or that particular person and say, yeah, you've got the one. But we're going to actually address 7 first so that we can do a better job of 2, because for you, that's the proper order.
Yeah, yeah,
That's
absolutely.
awesome. That's great.
So if anyone has listened to episode 61, Kathleen has mentioned in that episode that she has a weekly coaching company for her service advisors, and that's
Mm-hmm.
us. So
Well,
our
that's fun.
empowered
That was
advisor,
not planned. This is not staged. This is actually
it,
just kind of naturally happened that way. That's fun.
it
So,
did.
all right. So you're the coach that Kathleen's using or her shop is using, correct?
Yes.
For tech. Okay.
Yes. Yes. So we work with, so she has 3 people that we work with. So she has her production manager. And so, like she was saying, her production manager is more of like the back end person. She does the parts, DVIs, the estimate, and then she has really her advisor or her salesperson. And then she has her CSR, which is also called her director of first impressions. And so we work with her team every single week and their calls are separate. And so we wouldn't like put all 3 of them together. Each of them have their own coach, their own call. And what we do to get ready for them is we go in and we listen to their calls from the prior week and we listen for like, okay, well, what did you need from last week so that I can help you make sure that you either repeat the good of what you did or that you don't repeat what you didn't do well. And so what we hear a lot of the time is a pattern, right? So we'll hear like, why did you have so many people call and ask what the status of their vehicle is? Why aren't you calling your clients? So we'll create a lesson that is very, very specific to them.
Okay. All right. So I'm thinking about that. I imagine, are you doing the whole ham sandwich thing where you're, I've heard 2 good things. I heard 1 bad thing. You know what I was talking about. All right. So, go ahead.
I've
Is
never
that
heard
part
it
of your
called a
coaching?
ham sandwich.
Is that what it's
I've
called? Or you put like do I have it back? I listen, I mess up expressions all the time and I combine them with other expressions, but the
oh,
idea is that you give a compliment sandwich, man, not a ham sandwich. It's a compliment sandwich. I did that wrong. You're right.
I think
It
it's
was,
called like a doo-doo sandwich.
oh, oh, okay. I
Yeah.
didn't see. It's entirely likely. I do that all the time. I'm like, I'll put like 3 different expressions, well-known expressions together into the same sentence. And yeah, that was wrong. So, but we're talking about the idea of it. You give them a compliment, you give them a negative, you give them a compliment.
Yeah.
And so you're doing that. That is part of what you're doing when you're delivering your coaching. So if someone is not hiring you, even though maybe they should consider it, right, for their advisors, and they're trying to, the step number 1 is they need to be listening in on the phone calls. They need to do a spot check. Are you listening to all of them, or are you doing a spot check, or is that based on what? Is there a particular metric that you do? You want to listen to at least 10 phone calls.
Yeah, I don't necessarily have like a specific number. It really kind of depends on the week, to be honest. So, another thing that Kathleen mentioned in episode 61 was that her director of first impressions had a really rough phone call, and she wanted the coach to listen to that call to give her feedback. And so sometimes what we'll do is we will go back and we'll find every interaction with that customer. And so one of the things that's required to work with us is you have to have a phone recorder with incoming and outgoing recording so that we can hear every interaction.
Do
So
you have
what
a
we'll
preferred platform? Do you that you recommend to people?
We do. We use Inbound. That's
Okay.
he's automotive specific phone recorder. They are
Hmm.
US based. It
Hmm.
is like you just call and they answer the phone and help you.
Nice.
Not that we need help very often, but they are a fantastic company, so I highly recommend them.
All right, good. Okay.
Yes.
So, and there's a handful out there, right? That are some of them are just providing the tech, and some of them are actually providing a service with the tech, which is always nice. So, all right, good. And so you're listening to these phone calls, and especially when they are asked, like there was a particular interaction that we should start with, and if that's the case, then you listen to that engagement with every single for that particular customer, like the last month or whatever, for that particular period. And so sometimes it's being flagged for you. But if it's not being flagged, you're just doing I'm going to listen to a handful of different ones, and depending on the capacity or the training plan for maybe number 7 doesn't focus. Again, I mentioned right on that list of 7 things, right? Maybe 7 doesn't emphasize, as much phone call work as the others, prep work does. I don't know. But, so you listen to these phone calls and then you come back to them and uh, uh, say what are some of the examples of things that you're going to be training them on?
Yeah, great. So we are going to like to the connection between the marketing and customer service is a big deal. So what's kind of funny, Brad, is a lot of as service advisors and CSRs don't even know what the shop's marketing is. And so we have a lot of people that call and say, "Hey, you have a coupon or you have this or and they don't know what it is. I find that to be one of the biggest disconnects is that the shop owner does not communicate enough to the staff of what their marketing is. So we will find that as well, where it's like, well, why do you not know? What How do you not know? Like, do you know what's on your website? Do you know like what you guys are doing currently? And a lot of them don't. So what we do is we listen to appointment calls. So the appointment call is where I feel like a lot of I guess it's probably the shop owner or management doesn't realize the importance of that phone call because that's where the sale is starting. And so we listen to the appointment call, verify that if you have multiple people answering the phone, that they are all doing it the same way, that they are all setting the customer up for the same type of appointment with the same expectations, that the expectation gap is being closed. We listen to price shopper calls. We do sales training. We look at ROs. And most of our team is pretty comfortable with the like main software companies, right? Like TechMetric, Shopware, like the inspection platforms. And so we are able to go in and help them audit repair orders as well. But like one of the things like Kathleen said was if our advisors have a problem, they generally come to us and say, "Hey, we got a bad review," or "I had this bad experience with this customer," and we go in and we reverse engineer it, and I'm telling you, I can find where it went wrong. Like, there hasn't been a time where we haven't been able to find where it went wrong, and it's because we have the phone recording, right? Like, we can't be at the shop every day, all day with the team, but we can go in and we can listen to enough calls to determine what went right and what went wrong and where it went wrong.
And what went wrong? Is it often a miscommunication or a misunderstanding?
Generally what I feel, it's when we become emotional.
Oh,
It's
okay.
when we let emotions take over, and sometimes, sure, yeah, sometimes it's the miscommunication. There's a lot of that, but a lot of the time I feel like that could easily be fixed if the person didn't get emotional about it.
It's really interesting. I get that. I get that because I now do you coach them on body language?
Sure. Yeah, because we do Zoom meetings. Most of our meetings are done on Zoom, and so,
Okay.
yeah, we talk about body language, we talk about I mean, the statistic is it's like 80 to 90% of what someone hears over the phone is tone. So,
Yeah.
tone is so big, but
Right.
words are important too, but
Sure. Sure.
absolutely tone.
But you can change your tone by being more focused or by standing up straight or by sitting back and relaxing, right? I mean, you can kind of modify those things just with your own body language. Even if they can't see you, you're
Mhm,
able to control some of that by your own body position.
mhm.
And if you don't believe me on that, to do your own experiments, take your phone out and record yourself saying a single sentence while touching your ankles, and then and then and then record the exact same sentence while standing up straight versus your feet up on your desk and you're leaning back in your chair. As long as it's not broken like mine is, then you'll be fine. And so that's you'll be able to hear the difference between those recordings. And if you're still not sure, you can put those full recordings in front of other people and they'll be able to hear the difference, right? I mean, it definitely weighs into things. um uh, but anyway, all right. So, you're coaching, you're bringing them, they're not connected to the marketing, and, they're not even aware of what coupons or what specials or what the messaging is. Cause sometimes it's not just about, hey, just kind of oil change, or just, sometimes it's just a matter of education messaging, or, the fact that we're the best in the area, or we've got the level eight, the most level eight techs, or whatever the case might be. Right. But a lot of times it's about positioning and not just the offer. um, how does that tie in? I, we didn't plan this question either, so maybe you haven't thought about that, but have you thought about how just the overall messaging also ties into the tone, of the service advisor or customer experience manager or director of first impressions?
Well, sure, yeah. I mean, if your marketing says that we get you in same day and your advisor's answering the phone and saying, "Hey, yeah, we're scheduled out for a week," that isn't matching your
Either one.
marketing. So
Right.
100%, like, what is your marketing and are we living up to the marketing? And
Yeah.
so we do hear that a lot. And, another interesting thing that I feel is that a lot of shop owners don't even realize what their message is.
That's interesting. The shop owners themselves don't realize what their messaging is.
And
That's
a lot of it is because, like,
interesting.
sure, they plan their marketing, right? But how often are they going in and listening to their calls and realizing what the actual message is?
Yeah. Yeah, I've said multiple times, on various recordings about how do a spot check. Is the conversation that you're having with your customers, not you personally, but your team, matching what it looks like on your website, what it looks like on your Facebook page? Does it match? Right? And if it doesn't, then let's go fix the lowest common denominator, right? Let's get that up to speed. Um, so if your digital marketing is awful, but your customer service experience is amazing, well, then why aren't we telling people about it? But crying out loud. And of course, if the flip is also an enormous problem, because now you're wasting money on marketing and you're not converting, on the next piece. Um, so, um, now Philip had we talked a little bit about Kathleen, and Philip had uh, he just had a lot of understanding that it needs to happen, right? And he didn't, I think it's him and his business partner and one other person, if I remember correctly, at the front desk for the most part. And I think the one team member, like they all had like a decade of experience as far as being kind of front of shop, whether it was in a dealership or past jobs. They're familiar with that customer service, uh, approach, or that communication approach. Um, I wonder what that looks like to you. So I guess what I'm saying is when I pick up a new customer or I learn about a new shop, there's some hallmarks, so some kind of indicators. Like, okay, I know what I'm to expect when I actually get this person on the phone based on what I see here. I know what training or what marketing they're going to need based on, or where their marketing holes are going to be based on just a couple things that they've actually presented themselves. I'm going to go look and verify that. And now I know what I need to fix, right? Is that the same case here? If you know somebody who has, well, they used to be a mechanic, but they hurt their back and now they're a service advisor, you kind of know what you're going into when it comes to training them, right?
So there, yes. So there are a few things that you guys did talk about in that episode that I was in some disagreement with. So I think it's a little bit of an old school thought that a technician can, and I cannot believe I'm saying this, that a technician cannot become an advisor because I think it's all about the personality. I have several technicians that I work with personally that became service advisors after an injury, and they are phenomenal. Absolutely phenomenal. Now, it did take some training, and it took untraining and training, right? So, like, to untrain that you know what's wrong with a car and the training of, sitting in the advisor seat. And so, as long as the technician is willing to, I think it's a little bit of ego, right? Like you have to let the ego go that you probably know what's wrong with the car, and you have to just ask more questions and build more trust, build more doubt. They can be fantastic. They are some of the best that I work with. I will say, like, the traditional, like, if you were to take a technician out of the shop and put them in the advisor chair without any training, yeah, they're probably not going to be great.
Right, right.
But
Well,
with
so just
training, mhm.
yeah, so this kind of complements like my attitude on a lot of things. Like I think you could take it. We always talk about how it's easier to teach car than it is to teach people skills. But I feel like someone who doesn't have any people skills or just is socially unintelligent, however you want to phrase it, um, if they're willing, if they have the right attitude, we can increase their ability. It might not be to the level of some of the most dynamic people that we know in today's pop culture, right? It might never reach that level, but it can go to a strong level for them. Like they're at a different starting point, but if they're willing, they can actually learn it. But it does seem to be more difficult than teaching somebody car.
So, I mean, me personally, right? Like, I did the job as a service advisor with zero knowledge about cars. And so like I said, I just really liked people. And so I was able to connect with the person. I think a technician sitting in the advisor chair, they have a superpower, and their superpower is they do have automotive knowledge. And so if you get somebody that is challenging you, they do have that superpower of, like, let me pull this out of my back pocket. You don't want it displayed that you used to be a technician. It's a back pocket tool. And so I wouldn't ever tell a technician, don't ever use your skill. It's just you have to have a new one now that you use as your primary resource. That one's a secondary. And so, but it still works. And so I I find that when we put people in the advisor chair that don't know anything about cars, they think that that is the thing that they need to know. That's a thing that they keep telling me. Like, advisors, like, new people that come into the industry from, like, the restaurant or hotel industry, and when we're training them, they're like, "Well, yeah, but the thing I need to know is more about cars." So what we did is, finally, I was pressured enough into it. We started a technical training program where we put service advisors into our technical training to teach them more about cars. It lasted for 1 year, and nobody wanted to be in it anymore because they don't need that. And I think I proved it to myself that you really don't need that background. what you need is you just need to care about people. It's you also need to be able, like, as a service advisor, to just be humble and say, "Gosh, you know what? I actually don't know that. That's a super good question. I'm gonna go talk to my technician and find out." You go in, you talk to the technician, and then you come back and translate.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. And translation is also a skill. I No, I'm very serious about that. I mean, being able to translate, I do it in my world, right? A marketing company, and my team uses every other word is jargon oriented, right? And I have to communicate what's going on with the customer to the customer, what's going on, and what needs to change, and I need to not dumb it down, but just translate it into their vernacular. That's really saying dumb it down is absolutely the wrong way to phrase it, but translation is a good way to say it. Put it into the vernacular. Um, and so to me, some of that is social intelligence, like how someone's a natural ability to just be able to kind of read somebody and then speak kind of on their same level is a measure of social intelligence. How do you work on that? How do you recommend shop owners work on that? How do you recommend, if there's a shop advisor listening to this, how do they work on this? How do they
Well,
improve their?
the
Okay.
the way that you improve emotional intelligence is by learning about it. So just by educating yourself of what emotional intelligence is helps you grow your emotional intelligence. So also back in episode 61 you guys talked about the you guys were calling it personality. I say communication style assessments. So
Okay.
like
And you're
the
talking about like you're talking about the measuring their, well, again, we call it personality, but communication style, whether they're a strong, dominant, or,
Mhm.
all right. So why don't you break that down for us? Go ahead.
So what so same as I don't do the same assessment as Kathleen. I do a
Okay.
very simply a simple version. I am DISC certified. And so
Okay.
DISC is, not like I said, not as
And what
complicated
was
as
she
Kathleen.
certified? What was Kathleen certified?
Um
It
it,
wasn't DISC. It was something else.
she might be certified in DISC, but she's also certified in was it like TTI or something? I remember it was an
Yeah.
acronym. TT, yeah.
Yes. Yes. I think that's what it was. Yes. That sounds very, very familiar. And if you want to get the specifics on that, just jump back and listen to episode 61. All right. So keep going on the
Yes,
DISC portion. Go
yes.
ahead.
So hers, this is the how, and she gives you the test for the why, right? So the disc is how you communicate. And so that to me is something that's really helpful when I'm working on emotional intelligence because a lot of people are not like you were saying, so like they don't have self-awareness. And so they don't even know what their style of communication is. And so if we take the assessment and you learn more about how you communicate, then we will teach you how to communicate to the other communication styles, right? So like you were saying, so like the direct or the cautious calculated or the friendship or the trust, like however your customers or even your coworkers are, you learn a little bit more about them and essentially you mirror them. And so I've read 50 million books on it, but I mean there's the one like Emotional Intelligence by Daniel something. Daniel. Uh,
Okay. I'm going to look it up. I'm going to look it up.
okay.
Keep talking.
And then there's also a book, and again, I don't know the author of this one, but it's Mirroring, and it's like a book on psychology. And essentially, what the message is that you read what the other person needs from you. Where some people need eye contact, some people do not feel comfortable with eye contact. Some people like you simply just ask people, do you
Goes
prefer
back
a
to the person, the level A tech in Kathleen's shop that needs to be, you can't be within 3 feet of
3 feet?
them. Right. Emotional Intelligence by Daniel Goleman. Why
Yes,
it can matter more than IQ.
yes,
Okay.
yes.
That was the one that you were recommending. Okay.
Yes,
Good.
that is a really good book, and I would say shop owners absolutely read that, figure out what the areas of opportunity are for your team, and then slowly introduce it, or even have them read it with you. But we do talk about emotional intelligence in
What
our
does that look
coaching.
like? Now, what does that look like? I'm curious about that.
Mhm.
Have them read it with you. What, you're going to have a book club at the shop?
Yeah, well, I do work with a shop that has a monthly book club, and he sends me it's called his leadership reading. And every month they read a new book, and he sends me the list of books that they're going to read, and then I read them also so that I can communicate with the team on what they're reading. And that's also really good for me as well to just be increasing my knowledge. But yeah, they have a monthly book club, and it's a fantastic opportunity to be discussing. And a lot of the time, like when I'm introducing emotional intelligence, I wouldn't say, Brad, I really see that you're struggling with emotional intelligence, right? Like that's probably not going to go over
No,
very well.
no, or you'll have missed a chapter in Daniel's book. And so I'm curious if you if for back to that shop that has the book club, that's pretty cool. But I find I kind of want to talk to the employees like on the side without them knowing that I know. Like I kind of want to get their honest feedback on it and see if he's lost employees because they were annoyed that they had to read a book. And I wonder if listening to the book on Audible also counts, because I just added the emotional intelligence to my library on Audible. And so that counts. That we don't have to actually get the physical book.
I think so. Yeah.
Huh. Now, have you, uh, okay, so have you done, so you're doing that with that shop because they're retaining you to be their advisors or train their advisors. And so you're reading along with them.
Hmm.
Have you done anything like that with any of your other customers? Like, hey, you've got to read this book and have it back. We'll talk to you about it next month or next week.
100%. Yes.
You do. Okay.
100%.
Okay.
Yeah.
And how often do they not read it? 100%.
Probably like 85% don't do it. It is tough. You have to find the people that are willing to invest. It's when we do a monthly peer group, and a lot of the time for peer group, like I want people to watch a video or read an article. Most of them won't do it. We have an elite managers group. I can't get them to do their homework either. Like getting adults to do their homework is very hard. And
It's
so,
extremely hard. It's extremely hard. So when we first started, well, I'll just jump ahead. I'll say the time on the story and just say that the hardest thing that we have to deal with is getting shop ownership, getting the service advisors, getting somebody at the shop designated as the picture person to take pictures of the happenings of the shop, because I don't like stock photography. I hate it. I want stuff that we're talking to people like, know, and trust you with their car. Then let's have pictures and videos of you with their car. And by you, I don't mean Mr. or Mrs. Shop owner. I mean the people, the face of the company, the face of the shop. I mean them, right? And it comes up every single conversation almost. Hey, can you get us pictures? And occasionally, like recently, I was given a Google Drive folder of hundreds of pictures. And that's fun. That's great. We're going to use a lot of them, but it needs to be an ongoing practice. It's not a set and forget type thing. Because as we talked about before we started recording, our faces change, right? And so, we were talking earlier before the recording about how much I've aged in the last couple of years. And so it happens. And kids are part of the equation, but, anyway, back to, just, yeah, like, you know what I find awkward? I find, I call it the real estate, or the realtor picture. Do you know what I'm talking about? You see the picture of the person that you do because you laugh. You see the picture on the billboard
yeah, yeah.
in their 20s, and then you meet with them and they're in their 60s, and you're like, yeah, you should update your profile
Whoa.
picture because,
Yeah.
right? It's
Yes.
awkward, right? So
Yes.
as I say this, and I admit that my LinkedIn profile picture is a little old. I need to get that updated.
The
But
filters, like when you have so
mm,
many filters, like when we do videos on with my team, I say, do not put a lot of filters on me. Like you can give me a little one, but don't give me a lot because I do not want to be unrecognizable in person. I want people to know who I am. So I'm totally with you on that.
right.
Like you can touch me up a little, but let's not make me look like a completely different human.
And photographers everywhere are going to hate me for this, but listen, there's a time and place for professional photography. There's a time and for example, I love drone footage. I think it makes a really nice accent to the website or other places. And I'm pretty sure there's commercial licenses required. You're talking about that level of flight. So, so I'm not anti-professional photographer, but on a daily basis, when we're talking about just being real and authentic, no filter, here it is, just snap, 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 and go. And so, we're regularly saying just take 5 minutes on a weekly basis. Not even, because it's actually more like 30 seconds. Click, 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 hit upload, walk away, and don't even care what's in it. We'll find something.
You know what
Maybe
we
we'll
do
have,
is we have, well, I have Empowered Advisor and my husband, and I also have a small avocado farm. And we do the marketing for both. And we set aside one day at like every couple weeks where we do like I will change my shirt, like I'm giving away my secrets. I'll like pull my hair in a ponytail, I'll leave it down, I'll like change my shirt, but I try to do something where like we spend a couple hours just making content, and sometimes it's pictures. We do like funny videos. The farm is the cutest one because we get to be at the farm and like do farm stuff. Um but that's the reason why I feel like that's more relatable is they get to be at the shop and they can do cute, funny shop stuff. And so our person that does our social media, she's 25 years old, 27. And so she always will be like, Rena, this is a trending thing where I don't know what's trending, but
right,
she
right.
knows what's trending. And she will have me like do a little thing where I'm like, do, 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 dee, 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 like, and I'm done in 30 seconds. She tells me what to do. I'm over in 30 seconds. And now we have something that we get to post. And it's funny. I know like when my husband gets on the farm page, he sells the most avocados and he doesn't like getting pictures or videos or whatever. And I'm always like, you sell the most boxes, so you need to be on there. Sorry.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. And that's it. Like, you got to present yourself. You can't be using, I mean, we do use stock photography if we don't get raw assets from the shop, because more important to have content than to not have content up there. But I prefer, and so this goes back to what you were saying about the homework assignments.
Yeah.
Shop owners, if you're listening to this, do your homework.
Homework.
Do
Homework
your homework.
sucks. Homework sucks. But I'll tell you, like for me, my company, both of our companies are 100% social media based. Like we have like sorry, my husband made my website for Empowered Advisor. It's a little janky. Um, but that's not where I get the majority of my business. I get probably 90% of my business from Facebook. 100% of our farm business comes from social media. 100%. And so the people who are the buyers, they at the age group that we all want people that have the money, they are on Facebook. And so it really is worth your time to make a few stupid posts, put them on there. And I heard you guys talking in the last episode in 61 about like quick little like a bio, quick little questions about people. Like those little things, they go so far. And I do follow well actually Tim Schaefer, so his shop Dale Service Center in Davenport, they have a really cute social media. So the service manager, his name is Chad, and he gets on and he does like lives. And he's very funny, very creative, and he always does like a hat and a mustache or something, right? Where it's like just I don't know what you call it, but it's like when you put on the screen, it's like on your face.
Oh, it's not actually, it's not wearing a hat. It's actually
Yeah,
an added thing.
yeah,
Right. Right. So,
whatever you
eh,
call that.
eh, mhm.
And he does that, and they're very funny. And he goes out and goes to like the gas station in town, and people are like, "Oh my gosh, I see your social media. Hey, it's you." So it does work. And so I
Right.
really encourage everybody to get out there and do that.
And here's the thing, right? Like, don't be, uh, don't be overwhelmed when you're hearing these stories of these people that are doing a great job with it. Don't be overwhelmed, because starting is half the battle. Back to what I was saying about the homework for the pictures, right? Like that's how we coach them to do it. It's just pick a time on the calendar and just do it, and don't worry about the quality. And if you have a marketing firm like us, we'll be your filter as far as, yeah, I won't let you post something that's embarrassing. Right? So just do a bunch of different things, upload it to us, and then we handle it for you. And if you have a good marketing company, they're going to do the same thing for you. And I'm that's really the approach. You don't need to be a marketing company as the shop owner, but you do need to
Please
do the
don't.
homework. Right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
they should be
Just do the
hiring
homework.
somebody to do it, because you're right. I know you guys can take those photos that they looked at and they were like, "Oh," and I know you can take them and make them look fantastic.
Well, absolutely, that's a possibility, and and still keep it true to what's authentic. Like we're not actually giving somebody a different hair color or whatnot, right? And so I mean we can, but I mean that's not really the goal. The goal is again just to be transparent and authentic as possible, but also not embarrassing, right? And you don't always have to worry about being funny or creative. It's just get me the raw assets and we'll take it from there. And that's how most of your marketing company is going to approach it. The but doing the homework, I found it interesting. You were saying about how you spend like a day. I think the biggest point there is that you put it on your calendar. And for us, I usually try to bring it down into smaller pieces, because I don't want it to be a daunting, okay, I got to do this thing, right? I'd rather have it be part of the regular schedule and just do it in bits and pieces. And over 6 months, you'll be amazed on how well you're going to be taking these photos, even though you've only been spending 5 minutes a week on it. Like it'll just start happening for you. Like you said, Chad was at Dale's Service Center in Iowa, and well, I imagined if we went back to his first video, it would not look like his current one, right? He started to just have more fun with it as he started to get more comfortable. And so again, the answer is just to start doing it. But let's go back to you, and let's go back to the customer, the service advisor side of things. Do your homework also. Like again, like here, read a book this week, and now I've got this project to do. I got to put away X amount of time on a Sunday afternoon. I don't know if you have Audible, you listen to a chapter a day while you're in the shower. Uh, Take longer showers if you need to listen to more. I don't know what to tell you, but I mean, but break it up into smaller pieces so that it gets done. That's what I would.
Most
That's how
people
I would say it.
commute, and I think that's like the perfect time is during your commute, listen to your audiobook.
Also, I said shower. You like the commute. That's probably a good suggestion.
Well,
Yeah.
it's funny because I don't commute, and so, which is
Okay.
why, I do my social media and my
Mhm,
marketing all in one day, because I work alone. And so
mhm.
I have to have somebody come to the house. But if you work at a place where you have like multiple people, you guys should be able to like
Right.
every day at like 12 o'clock, like, or whatever. It should be something that is
All
so.
right, so let me help you with your schedule. In the morning, you listen to the book that Rena recommended. In the afternoon, you're listening to the Garage Grid podcast. All right, that's how this breaks down. You commute in, commute out. There's the plan. We've laid it out for you, plain and simple. It can't get better than that. All right, so what other things from Kathleen and Philip's conversation, the Shop Owners Panel, episode 61, as we mentioned, about the connection between marketing and it pouring into your front of shop, so that they are converting the marketing that you're investing, right? So you're investing in the front of shop as well as marketing. Is there anything off the top of your mind that you recall from that episode that you wanted to bring up?
Yeah. So I don't know how much shops spend on marketing. I don't know that answer. I'm sure you know what the average shop does. But with that being said, no, okay. Well, the thing, however much they spend, they are generally leaving it up, that marketing, to the least skilled person in the building. When you have a CSR answering your phone. And again, the CSR is customer service representative. So it's your receptionist, it's someone who is not your skilled or trained service advisor. And so that is probably the biggest I think mistake that shops make is they don't realize how important the phones still are. We keep talking about like, oh, like people don't even want to be on the phone, like everybody's digital. Not true. It's just not true. The majority of your people still call your phone, right? Like, I'm gonna say it's probably over 90% of people. There's gonna be probably not even 10%. It's probably like 3% of people want zero communication. It's such a small percentage. Maybe that percentage is growing, but you know, I don't see it changing. And that's probably because this is what I do for a living is I listen to your phones. So I know that people call, even the ones that are like, yeah, I wanted a text message, they still call. Everybody calls. Your phones are so important and we aren't taking it seriously enough that these are our phones. So I'm going to say like having a CSR is I think I think it can be good, but there's very few that I found that actually are good. It's, to me, generally better for us to put our most skilled person on the phone to set up for the very best appointment because this is where the sale is starting. And I don't want my
Yeah.
least
So are you
skilled
suggesting
person.
that we make our service advisors that the people that are answering the phones, or are you suggesting that we train our CSR so that they're more than just CSRs?
Well, that's funny that you say that because, and what I mean by that is a CSR is the one that is answering the phone and we aren't training them. And so I think it's one of two things. You either need to have a highly skilled CSR, which basically then they become an advisor, right? Like a skilled CSR is a service advisor. So if you have somebody that is just like your phone person, maybe checking in people, that person needs to be very highly skilled. They are the director of first impressions, but it's not just first impressions. They are starting the sale. They are director of the beginning of the sale. So are they setting your shop up for an oil service or are they setting your shop up for a 90,000 mile service? And it really like the mindset is huge. So if the phone call sounds like, hi, I want to make an appointment for an oil change. Okay, great. We have availability on Friday. And
Boo.
or is it, I would be happy to set you up for an oil service. I took the liberty of pulling up your phone number. I see that you are a regular customer of ours. The last time you were in, Brad, you had 85,000 miles on your vehicle. So I'm going to assume, are you about the 90,000 right now? Okay, well, you know what I'm gonna do if it's okay with you is I'm gonna look up and see what's due at that 90,000 miles. Now, Brad, that doesn't mean you need to do that, right? Doesn't mean you need to authorize the 90,000 mile service right now, but I just want you to be prepared if in fact you are due for those things. So I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna look that up. I'm gonna see what's due, and before you even get here, we're gonna see if there's anything that we should be taking care of. So I'm probably then going to call you back, maybe in like a half hour, and I'm going to say, Brad, I took the liberty of looking it up, and it does in fact look like you are due for that transmission fluid service. You are in fact due for those spark plugs. Those are things that I can see we haven't done. I also checked Carfax, which is a national database, to see if they have been done. I don't see them being done either. So in addition to the oil service, would you go ahead, would you like us to add those items? That is, and look,
I think I think the it's night and day. It's night and day. Now, I might actually suggest that if you don't, if I'm not overstepping my bounds, the next part of the conversation, if we had another minute, would be you explaining why those things matter, right? Because the average driver does not understand, do I really need a transmission flush right now? And yeah, okay, so you looked it up somewhere and you came back and now you're selling me more stuff. No, here's what could happen. I'm not trying to scare you, but the reason we do this is because it's going to increase the life of your car. You've told me that you want to drive this for the next 10 years. So let's make this possible, because otherwise in 6 years, you're going to be throwing it out because the transmission is going to be tossed, or you're going to be replacing the transmission, right? So this is extends the life of the transmission. So let's do this flush, right? So I think, but I think that's extremely important. And I think it's remarkably different as far as the revenue for the shop compared to the 79.99, oil change that they just did, right?
it's also the efficiency for the customer. So, yeah, you're right. It's, like, great for revenue for the shop. It's more efficient for the customer. I think it is more trust building also, and it's better for your technicians. I mean, it's just better for everybody. And look, a very skilled CSR can do that, but you cannot take somebody that has no skill and have them do that, which our service advisors should have the skill to do that, which I do wanna
Yeah,
circle
so
back.
you keep saying skilled. You keep
Mhm.
saying skilled, and if you're listening to this podcast, we're not talking about how well they turn the wrench, how skilled they are with people, how skilled they are with being able to communicate. What is their emotional intelligence? Have they read the book by Daniel Goleman? Have they taken Rena's class or whatnot? Right? I mean, like, let's make sure that that's how they are skilled. We don't care what the actual title is that you're going to put on their business card. Like, that's secondary to how well they make the customer experience top notch.
Which is I do wanna circle back to Philip, because that was one of my other items is so Philip said, "Look, we're, like, a really skilled" like, he's saying there probably is an opportunity. I challenge Philip to, if he has a phone recorder, let me in and let me find the opportunity, and I can find it in 10 minutes. So, the reason why coaching is so much better than training is because I'm gonna go in and I'm gonna find the very specific needs of your shop. The most skilled I work with service advisors, like, right now, I'm working with a service advisor, 25 years experience, writing $1.5 million a year in service. I find opportunity for her every week. And it's not that she's not good at her job, she is phenomenal. It's that there is still area of opportunity for even the highest skilled people.
I've used this analogy before, and it seems like it's apt right now, so I'll use it again. Um, Professional baseball players have a batting coach. Like, I
Mhm.
don't even need to say anything else, right? I mean, these guys are top of their game, even just to get into the MLB, right? And so, and anyway, so but yeah, and they're constantly refining. It's not that you need to fix it; it's that you're in a journey to be better. And so this episode is going to be published pretty soon in January of 2026. And I'm hoping that you're listening to this and thinking, okay, how can I make my next year, my 2026, or maybe you're listening to this further out, my next year even better. Get on a good journey to improve, right? Get on a good journey to make sure that your customer experience is matching your website. And of course, if your website's the lower end of that, to fix that too. But your marketing should match what it sounds like when they call in. That whole customer experience needs to be managed and improved so that you're actually converting the money that you're spending on your marketing, and that you're actually growing your shop and investing in your people as well. Rena, thank you so much for joining us on the Garage Group podcast. I had one item that I wanted to talk to you, and you actually already hit it. So it was specifically, you covered it in the just a few moments ago. So that was I had it on my kind of my mental notes. I don't actually take physical notes. It's up here, but you actually covered it. So that was perfect. So thank you for that, and thank you for joining us. And listen, people, if you're listening to this and you're trying to figure out what your next marketing step is, you can go out to two different places. The first one I want to give you is the playbook that we just published, and you can get that at addi.me/2026. That's addi.me/2026. You get the marketing playbook that we use for our customers. You can take a look at that, understand what we're doing while we're doing it, or you can just get your next marketing step by going to addi.me/jumpstart. That's addi.me/jumpstart. And as always, if you're listening to this and it's not January of 2026, then you're probably not subscribed to our channels. Fix that. Maybe that's the next step. Just fix that. Start listening to our podcast on a regular basis. We're trying to help as many shops as we can grow, and that includes yours. So thank you for being here. Thank you for listening, and everyone have a great 2026. Thank you.